Hey, everybody. Sorry we're late. We were talking about Jen here, Lady Wolverton. We were talking about Bubba Husky's wonderful blog on Amino. He gives the channel a shout out. Thank you so much for that, Bubba Husky. But he has put down in writing what he thinks is evidence for his Ned plus Ashara equals John. That's not personally what I believe, but everybody has a right to their opinion, and we will respect that, and we will let Bubba have his say tonight, 100%. All right, you guys, you all know where to find me. With that, I'll go ahead and let LMR go, and we'll go down the line.
Hi, everybody. I see that everybody says that it's hot over there, right? I don't know where you are, but we're burning up here. What was I saying? I don't even know. It's late. So again, it's always a pleasure to be here. We never know what's going to happen. That's the fun part of it. We have a cool theory from one of the friends in the chat. So we're looking forward to that. And we're going to be discussing Edart 9. And with that, Misha or Sarah?
Hello, everyone. This is Misha Houston. Thank you so much for joining us. We're doing Edard tonight. Edard, is that the chapter, Edard?
Yep, we're doing Edard.
Yeah, we're doing Edard. If you want to catch me, just catch me on Facebook, catch me on Instagram, catch me underneath 3700, Misha 3700 on the Capcom Fighters Network. Sarah, you want to introduce yourself? Sarah, you there?
Sarah, you're muted, babe.
Sarah, turn on your microphone is off.
I fixed it. I'm sorry. I had to.
That's okay.
You like making an entrance, right?
Yeah, right. I have to be late. Even when I'm early, I have to be late.
Beautiful.
Sorry. It sounds like Daenerys and her dragons. She's like, we've been waiting for quite some time. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Or am I playing Cersei today? Ouch. Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
Hello. Yeah, it's I don't know which Eddard chapter it is.
It's Eddard 9.
Eddard 9, Game of Thrones. And yeah, thanks for having me. This is always fun. And I'm gonna defer to I took notes on the chapter. I don't know if you guys all did or had certain things you wanted to say, but I sort of broke this chapter down into two pieces. One is the first part is just basically Ned thinking about bastards, and then the second half is basically Jaime's attack. So I thought to just keep pace or whatever.
No, that sounds fine. Let's go. You know, everybody does the overview the way they do the overview. That's fine. Take it away.
All right. So, all right, the chapter starts where they're at Ned and three men-at-arms are at Shataya's brothel with Littlefinger. That's where we meet. I hope I'm saying her name correctly, Aliyaya. And the point of them being there, though, is to go and meet one of Bran's bastards. And there's a woman there who works there who has a baby, and says it's the king's, and she named it Bera, which I thought was kind of cute because if it was ever legitimized, it would be Bera Baratheon. Like, saw what you did there. All right, so Ned's taking a look at his bastard one of King Robert's many bastards. He's already met the blacksmith one, Gendry. All right, so it's raining. They're on their way back to the keep after taking a look. He starts thinking of Lyanna. So bastards makes him think of Lyanna and how she actually wasn't that excited to marry Robert Baratheon, knowing that he would likely be the father of many bastards. And then there's one thing I wrote down. As he rides, Ned reflects that he is cursed to always keep his promises, while Robert can swear undying love and forget it by morning. Then he thinks of Jon Snow. Oh, what's wrong with my audio level? Sorry.
You're good.
All right. All All right, so he's thought of Lyanna. He's thought of Jon Snow. He asks Littlefinger about Robert's bastards. He talks about one of the ones that's acknowledged at Storm's and Edric Storm. But we had just met Maya Stone. Well, we had known Maya Stone from the Catelyn chapters. And then he thinks of Rhaegar for the first time in years and wonders if the Dragon Prince frequented brothels. Somehow he thinks not. Okay, so then midway home, they're attacked. It's 3 against 20. Ned reminds Jaime that if he dies, Catelyn will kill Tyrion. Jaime has come after Ned because he's gotten word that Cat has seized Tyrion. So in response to that, Jaime has his guard kill not Ned, but Ned's men. And the horse falls on him, and Littlefinger shows up at with the gold cloaks. And they return to the Tower of the Hand, where Grand Maester Pycelle attends to his injury. That is what happens.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, does anyone have an opinion before I give my long-winded opinion?
Misha, go ahead. I'm watching the chat right now for a sec, and it's always fun listening to your opinion. So I'm all ears.
Okay. Yeah, we're directly with Littlefinger, and the thing about Littlefinger is that you can really tell what a big pimp he is. He's all about the whores in this one. He's completely and totally about these prostitutes, and it kind of makes me think, is that what he thinks all women are like now? We all kind of know Littlefinger's story and what happened to him when he was young, and the duel and so on and so forth, and it really shows how down and how pitiless he's become, in regards to women. He just sees them as nothing but whores. Nothing but whores. I don't think he has a kind word, to say about any woman. At least in my opinion. I just don't think that he has anything to say, anything nice or anything positive to say about women. He hasn't, known that many women, only a few of the 2 ladies and Sansa, and then all of these whores. And I have to wonder, does he see every woman as a whore now? Littlefinger, was asked by Catelyn to protect her husband, but he makes it clear in this chapter that he ain't really concerned about Ned, too much. He steps forward, in a half-hearted attempt to protect Ned, but it was half-hearted. He couldn't really be bothered with any of this. He was happy, to leave Ned to his own devices, but he did, call out for help, and when he needed it. He said he was going to get the city watch, and he did go and get the city watchman eventually, but he wasn't in a big rush, to look out for Ned. So I mean, just in regards to Littlefinger, he's pretty much just a pimp. He's not really looking out for Ned like he said he would. And even though I love him, you can really tell that he's really not a good guy in this. But I do love him all the same. Robert, the thing about Robert, he so very much loved. He loved Lyanna. And Lyanna only saw him as a whoremonger. He's just a man that he'll frequent many beds and get all these women pregnant and so on and so forth. But I think that if Lyanna and Robert did get married like they were supposed to, I kind of want to believe that he would not, go catting about and go whoremongering about. The whores, the pimps, and the whoremongers kind of stood out to me in this chapter. And it's such a strange thing, for something like that to stand out, but it did stand out to me. It started off with Littlefinger. And then they talked a little bit about Robert and his whores, and then we we get to meet a whore named Bara, and then we get to meet the bastards, and we get to meet all of that. So I mean, the whores and the pimps and the whoremongers, the Johns, kind of stood out to me. One of Ned's guardsmen was playing at forfeits with a whore. So in my opinion, the whores and all of the people who associate in that sect of people kind of stood out to me. And then we have Cersei and Jamie, the two biggest whores on the show, in my opinion. So I mean, they kind of, the whores and the pimps and the Johns, they all kind of stood out to me in this chapter.
There is a comment here, since we're talking about Littlefinger here. Let's see, where is it? Emmanuel writes, Littlefinger is a man with a broken heart, so he hates all women. Is love and hates all women, didn't return her love to him. So basically, yeah, he has a broken heart, and that's why he may be acting like he's acting currently. So, and then earlier he writes, Littlefinger has a broken heart and was almost killed for it, so he hates women. Completely understandable. He was used before by two ladies, right? They were not acting very ladylike, at least for those times back then. Now it's a different approach to things. And then he almost died because he was following his heart. So completely makes sense that he lost all faith in love, and love is nothing to him, I guess.
Or at least not anymore. I think it did start off. Yeah, it did start off that way. But now he's pretty much out for the money, out for himself, out for trying to stay alive in this slippery world. And part of me can't even blame him for that, because if you don't have the money, if you don't have the power, if you don't have anyone in your corner, you're going to wind up dead. So I can't really blame him, even though there are a lot of people that do blame him for the horrible things he's done. And I would never disagree with them on that. I just can't blame him totally, because you got to do what you got to do, especially in this world.
Yeah.
Let me see. Does anyone else have anything? I'm just going down the line of things that I saw in this chapter that stood out.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Misha, you'd said I don't know if Littlefinger has ever said anything good about a woman, if it has anything good to say about women. I would say he says that they're a good investment, that like
they never sink.
The establishments are good investments. Yeah, they don't sink. And there's also there's value on virginity, I would say. Like the idea that Bara's mom, Ned says, is like, oh, the nicest place is because we could always find a virgin. Like, I guess Robert requested that. I mean, yeah.
I mean, technically, why would he's a king? Why would he settle for anything else if that was the most prized, I guess, possession back then?
So I'm a man of many appetites. But yeah, so while we were on the whole topic of the sex trade, just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but hey, you asked me a question.
It's book club, yeah.
Yeah, it's book club. We're gonna talk about this, and we're all adults, so if you're a child, step away from the screen right now.
When Lyanna became engaged to the young lord from Storm's End, that's how they put it in the book, she told Ned, she said, Robert will never keep to one bed. Lyanna had told him at Winterfell on the night long ago when their father had promised her hand to the young lord of Storm's End. And Ned told her, he's a good man. It doesn't matter what he's done before their betrothal, but he wasn't going to lie to his sister. And he knew he had held the girl who we now know to be the girl in the veil, Maya Stone, he had, so he didn't tell her she was wrong or anything, but I guess he wanted to believe the best in his friend. And Lyanna says to him, love is sweet, dearest Ned, but it cannot change a man's nature. And then somebody did mention when he was riding back to the Red Keep before he was attacked by Jaime and company, he thinks to himself, did Rhaegar frequent brothels? I think probably not. So inadvertently, I think that we can see that as far as honor goes, he felt like Rhaegar was the more honorable of, even though him and Robert were better friends. I think that Ned personally thought that Rhaegar had more honor than Robert to an extent.
Well, I mean, I agree with that. I think that Rhaegar was a good man, but that incest factor, that's a hard stain.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to swallow.
I can't get behind, the whole incest, no matter whether it was going on through their families for generations. Hey, I just can't get.
What do you mean that with Rhaegar? Did I miss something, or is it just too late? My brain is not working.
His parents were brother and sister. I guess that's what.
But what does it have to do with him?
But I understand. I know that he wasn't sleeping with his sister. But that whole family was based upon incest.
But I guess,
I know, I understand. You don't want to punish him for what his people did, but that stain. I mean, I can't look at a person the same way as I once did if I knew that they had come from incest. I can't. I'm sorry. I know that's ugly, and that may sound like I'm being a bigot, but and that's not what I'm going for. But that's just a stain that I just can't get behind. It stains a person. In my opinion, and I know that sounds horrible and ugly, but I can't really look at them as I normally would anyone else if I knew that they had been born from incest, and not just one time of incest that had been going on for hundreds of years. I mean, that's a big stain.
Well, majority of people we all come from somewhere, right? And back then, there was, all of it was incest, so we all have something in our blood, probably, because technically we kind of all come from not peasants, but from some kind of royalty at some point, because peasants die, and back then at least, and royalty, again, back then slept with whoever they wanted, and they had bastards, so we all have that in us, probably.
But I mean,
but that's okay.
We're gonna have to disagree on that. But
I understand what you're saying, and then I'm getting in the chat. I'm getting both Amanda and Mackenzie are saying to me, I believe that they think that Lyanna, would have just rather Rhaegar because he was prince. What? That's not the feeling I get. The feeling I get is that she preferred his nature. Like, we know that he was kind of quiet till he wasn't quiet, read a lot of books till he decided one day he was going to be a fighter, was not a boisterous braggart type person. Now, the problem I have getting behind that is he was already married. Now, that's what I'd like to know about what went on.
But he wasn't married. Didn't he get annulled? Didn't he get his marriage annulled?
I guess so, according to the show.
Yeah. Well, we can deny it. We're, at least from what I thought, we kind of go, it's based on a book, but then we kind of look into the show tiny little bit. So who knows? Maybe that is going to be true in the books. Hopefully that bad thing didn't happen, and he was.
I don't think him getting annulment makes him any better. I think it makes him worse.
I mean, that's what I really can't get behind with the whole situation is,
so if that's what they're going for, if that's what they're going for, it worked on me. Like
it's bad to hop from bed to bed, but and father bastards all the way around. But isn't it also bad to leave the wife you already have 2 children with? I mean, I guess if we look at it, neither one of them were shining examples of husband material.
And like those kids safe. The kids and the wife weren't safe either. So
for Robert,
just let's throw an annulment on top of that. Sorry.
But as for, I don't agree with adultery, of course not. But Robert, I think I'll give him a free pass, because if I were a man and I had a wife like Cersei, I'd be. I mean,
well, you know, if you had a guy, you know, say some other woman's name in bed, heck, would you become a Cersei?
Yeah, I mean, those kids ain't even his. Those kids are not even his. And speaking of Robert, Ned said something to the effect of Robert closes his eyes to the things that he doesn't want to see. And I think he, you know, drinks and talks about, because he doesn't want to face the fact that of what's going on between Cersei, him, Jamie, and those kids. I agree. He's just burying his head in the sand. Yeah, I mean, completely burying his head in the sand, you know, by drinking and whoring and hunting and not even wanting to acknowledge what's going on.
And then we hear that possibly, and what this is all about is that possibly that he apparently had I believe it's what is said is about he has asked Littlefinger about all of Robert's bastards. And Littlefinger relays to him that he thinks about 3 years ago when they were visiting Casterly Rock, he got some twins on a girl, and Cersei had them killed and then sold the woman to a slaver. And that he knows, you hear terrible stories about High Lords like this all the time, but he just has a hard time believing that his friend would allow. He says, Cersei, he can get that, but did Robert really just let that happen? And if you think about it, that's the same thing Jorah Mormont has been excommunicated for. This for selling people to slavers.
Yeah, there are no perfect people.
I think it's also possible that Littlefinger might have been lying about the twins. I mean, it's like the best liars season it with a bit of truth, right? He's talking about the one who's acknowledged Edric Storm, which everybody knew about Edric Storm, but then then he's like, oh yeah, and I heard twins in Casterly Rock, and like that's the thing he says about Shireen being Selyse and the fool's child. Like I just that's what I see on him. He's like, let's put a little bit of truth and then send out a horrible message.
He's bringing chaos into everything. Whatever he says, it's he has a way with words.
It's true.
If he cared about Ned at all, he would. There's ways in and out of Shatai's brothel from the Tower of the Hand, because Tyrion uses them all the time. There's ways of keeping Ned safe, not walking him back where Jaime can attack him with 20 people. Am I on? Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
I was like, oh man.
I was looking at something else. I was looking at last week's chat to see if I spoke the most. And Fred, I don't understand what you're talking about. He's really don't. Is he? Are you kidding? Or I don't. Okay, it's okay. It doesn't matter, I guess. Okay.
Like how short that I was. I was like, he's probably making fun of me. I have no idea what he said. I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely. I go into the chat real quick. Amanda Duncan. Yep, he planned for the confrontation. 100%. 100%. He cornered them and I believe tried to catch them at a disadvantage. Of course, surprise, whenever you have surprise on your side, automatically that is a very good advantage. But yes, definitely.
I have a point to make, but it's totally different from what we're talking about. But the weather, it started to rain during that chapter. And if we see rain coming down, I think it's a good sign that things are about to change.
Going bad.
Yeah, I think any kind of weather change.
I think I have something here about that. I'm sorry, Sarah. You want to go ahead?
Mine's real quick. He says that he uses the rain segue to be like, it was raining the night Lyanna got betrothed to the Storm Lord. And that's how he jumps right into it. And that's all I had. Yeah, what else about the weather?
Yeah, I mean, there are some chapters like Brienne, later in the Feast for Crows, when it's raining, she's gonna get into a bad altercation.
Hmm.
Arya in our Winds of Winter, it starts off with heavy fog. So that's a sign that things are going to change. Any kind of weather change, in my opinion, just signifies things are about to change, things are about to get bad, things are about to get worse. And with winter, one of the most harshest of seasons, I just think that it's really, really, really going to get bad for everyone. Just like it got bad here in this chapter.
And that's actually the first note that I made reading the chapter. It beat down on Ned's head, fat as blood and relentless as old guilt.
Hmm.
And that's how he describes the rain coming down on him when he leaves the brothel. So I think exactly anytime we see rain, we're set up for a situation that would bring you to tears.
Hmm.
Because that's what I think of. And a lot of times in cinematography, they use that. Like there's a very famous movie, black and white movie, where somebody is standing in front of a window and it's raining, but it looks like the rain is just pouring down their face, and they're not crying at all, but they're in a state of where they could be. Also, the Bar's mother, a tremulous smile. A tremulous smile is when you're on the verge of tears and holding them back, which I do a lot. And but you're smiling anyway through it. And that's why I don't think that I think that reminds him of Liana, of that night when she died. I think she probably had a tremulous smile.
Hmm. uh, Also, when Daenerys was born, she was born in a terrible storm. And we all know how important Daenerys, is to the story and will be to the story in later books. So yeah, it just, as I said before, I think the weather is a sign that things are about to shift, things are about to change. And this was a big shift in this chapter. It's gotten bloody now. People have died now. This is the first time. This is really the first chapter, with the exception of the cutthroats chapter, who was trying to kill Bran when blood is being shed, and Catelyn's chapter, when they are trying to move through the mountains. This is when it's starting to get bloody, for Eddard. This is his turn, to take the big downfall. So this was very much a cog, well, what was I going to say? A cog chapter where everything kind of jumps off from here. Any I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, I know what happened, and they changed it a little bit from the thing in the book. I kind of liked the fact that they did it better in the story than they did in the in the show than they did in the books. I like the fight that Jamie put up against Ned
Yeah,
in the show.
in the books, I like it much better. I think it's much more. I like it better in the books as well. You know. Okay. Let me see if I had anything about that. Um,
I have a comment since you're looking for it.
Go ahead.
When you find it, for I don't know if you noticed, for at least I was shocked when I read that. I thought that they were going to be free and everything ended fine. It was just kind of a show of strength. And then he says, I cannot let you go. And then he added something, and then he killed his man, basically. That was his order. That reminded me of when Jamie actually later on, when he's protecting Brienne and talking, using his skills and his bargaining chip of being a Lannister. Again, that's what I remember from the show is we at least I thought he's gonna be fine. Like he's gonna be fine. He talked his way out of it. He used the Lannister card, and then he gets his hand chopped off like that. So here, I see Ned being okay. He's gonna be fine. They're gonna be free, all good. And then bam, he says, "Kill his men." So that was the reminder that Jamie, kind of like what goes around comes around, or the other way around. Um, Jamie did that to Ned and somebody else did that to Jamie later on.
I like that. I like that because it kind of did remind me of another section in the story as well. It kind of reminded me of when they were all the at the castle on the crossroads, and Cersei was saying, "Oh, well, we can't just let this go unpunished." An innocent was killed. Lady was killed on her orders. And Jamie, instead of attacking Ned, he attacks an innocent person, just like Cersei attacked the innocent direwolf. So it really shows that he's very much in league with the Lannisters and their cruelty. Their cruelty, Cersei and Jamie's cruelty in both of those chapters were really prevalent.
I was gonna say, even Tyrion is got a cruelness to him. I mean, like, I wasn't on the stream for the one, but like he stomps on Marillion's hand. Like, he's a harpist, and he just broke his hand. You know what I mean? He didn't have to do that. He just did it to like get back at him but it was still unnecessary. You know what I mean? Sort of like killing Lady is unnecessary, and killing three. Yeah, it's still like, oh, well, my sigil is a lion, so I can be an aggressive asshole. It's sort of like
Tyrion's very cruel in the books. They make him quite likable in the show, and he's a fan favorite. But in the books, he's one of the cruelest people.
He's dark. I can't hate him. No matter how dark he gets. But yeah, no, he's pretty dark.
I want to touch on something, you guys. I want to go back, but just before we miss it. Okay, so I want to go back to the brothel, and he's still kind of looking around, trying to figure out, what am I doing here? What John Aaron just wanted to see all the bastards, and again, I think this is not making a bunch of sense to Ned, because John Aaron knows that Robert has bastards. Hell, his first bastard was Maya Stone up at the Vale when he was, barely out of his teens, or I don't even know. He might have not even been out of his teens yet. So, so that's what I think. We always talk about how Ned is maybe not that bright, but Ned knows that wouldn't be a shock to John Aaron. The fact that Robert has bastards, especially since all what happened and he didn't marry the woman he wanted to marry, and kind of really has the ultimate political marriage in the story. I mean, we all know in this story you don't get to marry for love, and if you do, usually things go super horrible. Yeah. But most definitely, but so Bara's mother is like, I haven't been with anybody else. Shataya has promised me 6 months off. He's so good to me. And Ned is thinking, good to you. And then she's like, well, please tell him I'm waiting for him, and how much she looks like him. And Ned thinks to himself, I will, I promise. And then it said, yeah, that's right, I will. Ned had promised her. That was his curse. Robert would swear undying love, then forget before evenfall. But Ned Stark, he keeps his vows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, but I can kind of understand her plight as well, because knowing Robert, he probably treated those prostitutes a whole lot better than he treated his own wife.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that like, okay? I'm not pro adultery, okay, but what is he telling these women? Like, what is like? Your tits
smell like blackberry jam. Your tits smell like blackberry.
I feel like there's more ethical forms of it than like telling some dumb girl that you're in love with her. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that.
But imagine you have a king coming over there. He's a king, and I'm sure he's all taken care of differently. I'm sure he's better just in general.
Well, she can only know that, yeah, like it results
I'm sure she hears stuff and stories from other girls over there, and I'm sure they're like horror stories too.
Well, and yeah, like if the thing about Casterly Rock was true and such common knowledge, then like wouldn't Shataya maybe hide Robert's bastard a little better if Cersei was known to go around killing them? Like, just a thought.
True, yeah. Yeah.
It's just it's hard to read. it's hard to reread Game of Thrones for me and not just see Littlefinger being Littlefinger.
But see, I don't think it was very common knowledge, like people were saying it hush hush, very hush hush. So
about the dead twins at Casterly Rock, bastard twins.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's
I think
what Littlefinger kind of was saying around, and I'm sure not everybody knew about what Littlefinger kept saying about Catelyn either, right? Because Catelyn didn't know.
Yeah, that's true. He makes shit up.
So he maybe says things to people he wants to say things to.
Well, as far as Littlefinger and Catelyn goes, he said that he had slept with her, but he probably think he was sleeping with her in that moment. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not quite sure about that. But I think he was, you know, in a drunken, hideous state, and probably didn't know what was going on. And just
his pride had to have been so wounded, and so like, oh, he's drunk and his love comes for him, and it's Liza.
Mm-hmm. Here, Marie says in the chat. She says Ned was shocked at how young the prostitute. So was she like 12, 14 years old? That's kind of quite a question. So again, with him getting, I'm not sure if all the girls he gets are virgins in that brothel, but maybe he kind of is looking for his Lyanna every time, because Lyanna was young too, right? Maybe that's why I'm sure he does different things too with different women, but maybe he's looking for his Lyanna.
Yeah, most likely. Just, you know, using these women as substitutes.
Yeah.
And then, but then Milk K goes on to say, excuse me, Milk K does go on to say, and it makes complete sense. Remember, age is scaled down. I think what bothered Ned, which would bother any father, is the fact that this girl might have been around Sansa's age, you know, or a little bit older. Obviously, if she had had a child, she had had a period or was fixing to have one. But life expectancy is so low in this time that remember that we do have to remember that, you know, you even though you're younger, you're older, so to speak.
Well,
what do you mean, like younger, you older back then?
I mean that if life expectancy is 30, then at 15 you're middle-aged.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So if you're old, if you live to be 50, you've got to think that, well, 25 is middle-aged then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because people weren't living that long back then.
Diseases, childbirth. I mean, even, you know, even in this country, up until 100 or so years ago, tuberculosis, you know, and now even today in third world countries, cholera, unclean water is a big deal, you know. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So back then in a time where you wouldn't have had, except for at Casterly Rock, apparently they have great sewage there, but where you wouldn't have always necessarily been living in the cleanest conditions, childbirth, communicable diseases, etc. Then what
There's
I'm saying.
There's a great comment here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. There's a comment here from Milt saying that, speaking of age, right? Because you were just talking about age. It says a Planetos' year is probably longer than an Earth year. That would make a lot of sense too.
It would make a lot of sense due to the season.
Yeah.
Milk K. I'm sorry. I hate to kind of. This whole Planetos thing is silly. I don't know who made this up. But Milk K, the name of the planet that they are on is Earth. Okay, it is not called Planetos. They say this many times in those grand chapters. So for everyone who doesn't know, the name of the planet that they are on is called Earth, not Planetos. I don't know what
Earth
made that.
Earth in a different dimension.
Yeah, exactly. It's I guess maybe like a shadow Earth or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But the name of the place is called Earth.
I think the Planetos is basically just name of a planet without a name, and but since there was a name to it, but many people don't want to see it as Earth because of the seasons.
And that
Maybe.
makes sense. Like if the seasons are that long, how that like what you were just saying, Misha, and like Milt said, that a year could actually be much longer. That makes complete sense.
Because they never say 24 hours. They never say, they have different language over there
hour of the
for
wolf.
different things. Yeah, they don't call it a month. There's no such a thing as a month. We see month.
Well,
we
they
see
do
30,
mention
20.
fortnight.
Yeah,
And
but not a
fortnight is a
month.
continuous 2-week period.
Yeah.
So I would have
your
to
point-
say that.
Misha, to your point that there's no such thing, like it's Earth. Do they? I feel like when like Brienne, when they're in caves and stuff, she's like it smelled like the Earth, or like the Bran chapters, like the Earth. They make
Earth,
reference to the
with a
word Earth.
Small E or capital E or lowercase E.
I think a lowercase e.
Then
So
that's basically dirt.
dirt. They could call it planetos.
That's what I'm saying. Planetos is a name for. My understanding is that planetos is a name given to a planet-like object, I guess, without name.
I figured it's Westeros, Essos, and why don't we just call the planet Planetos?
Yeah,
Well,
to
I
me
mean,
it makes more sense.
I don't
Because
know,
of this,
that-
only because of the season. Only because of the season that we see that there are different seasons, and some planets. I'm gonna probably get it wrong, but I think Neptune is it. It's basically turning around differently, and there's a theory actually made on Science Channel that kind of they compare it to Neptune because of the seasons. That this is the planet that would most likely match the seasons that they're experiencing. Just from Science Channel this year, sometime they had a theory like that. But anyway, continuing, I'm gonna look at the chat. Go ahead, ladies.
Let's go to the chat. I want to read this comment here. Amanda, these lady are closed mind. It was, and I get what you're saying. I'm not so closed minded that I don't get what you're saying. What you're trying to say is, Amanda, these ladies are closed minded. It was a different time. European royal families are basically all incest. I'm certainly well aware that Catherine of Aragon was certainly Henry VIII's first cousin. I'm certainly aware of all of those factors. I'm certainly aware that Louis XIV was married to his first cousin. We let everybody express their opinion openly and freely on here, and we agree to disagree like adults.
Well, yeah. I mean, who's always going to agree? Who's always going to agree? It's never going to happen. But as far as the story goes, what part were we on, ladies? Because I kind of forgot the part that we were on. Where everything kind of.
We were at the part of the Jamie ambush.
Yeah, Jamie. I mean, it's just that whole scene. All when I could look at him and look at him throughout that entire scene, it just reminded me of Cersei. Reminded me of, I mean, he is nothing but Cersei's shadow at this point. And I am just so glad that later on in the books, he finally finds his own identity, separate from Cersei. But, in these early beginnings, all I could see when I looked at him was Cersei. The cruelty, the way that he had all these guards around him, his posturing, and his condescension. It just screams Cersei Lannister for me.
It also seems to me that he doesn't really think things through. Like I think that was one of the criticisms of the bitterness she had of him with him, is that if she was a man, she could be impulsive like him. Oh, what's funny?
Chrissy said, Cersei, make Westeros great again in the chat. I wasn't laughing at you, Sarah.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute myself. That's what I was laughing at. Chrissy says, Cersei, make Westeros great.
I saw that meme somewhere. Not meme.
She wears the, there was like a picture of her with the hat. I think it has a Twitter account associated with it. I can't remember what I was saying.
Well, I'm gonna if you that's if you remember it, just chime in.
Jamie didn't think this through. He's like anyway, go ahead. Yeah, Jamie didn't think this through.
Yeah. Like maybe he wanted to impress his father, right? He's I mean, not that he has to impress his father. He's already, the son that is favored, but maybe.
I think isn't it somebody predicts that Jamie's going to do this, that Jamie is very fond of Tyrion and Jamie's going to cause a problem. I don't know if it's Tyrion who suggests it, or it's pretty much, it's thought to be predicted that Jamie would do this. And then I got to hand it to Ned. Ned tried to talk him down from it. If you do this, then your brother dies. So he's like, okay, then like the wolf move, like, then I'll kill your men then instead of you. And that was so sad when he blacks out from the pain. And then when the gold cloaks find him, he's like hugging Jory's corpse. And that's so sad. Cause like, you really liked Jory up until this point, Yeah. R.I.P. Jory.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then when he was dragged, or not dragged, he was actually, after his leg broke, and it was all in, that was just so gross. I hate just the thought of, actually bones sticking out through the flesh. Ooh. And then just imagine him in that rain, in the mud, and all that mud gets in his tissue. Ooh, gross. Maybe that's why it's so difficult later on. It doesn't want to heal at all.
Is 42 older, Emmanuel? I think you'll find that when you're 42, you won't feel that that's so very old.
Is that from a chat? Let's see.
Yeah. I'm touchy.
Oh, we're taking on age. We're taking on age in the chat.
Let me see.
I used to think that too when I was real young. I used to think that too. Boy, Lord, I certainly,
age is just a number.
Well, I have another point about the story about as the big confrontation was going on, no one was helping him. Everybody was watching, but no one was helping. They were all, in the street. They were fighting in the streets. There was this big, huge altercation, and no one was helping him. And it just felt like a foreshadowing of things to come. Everybody's going to see Ned's downfall, but no one's going to lift a finger to help him. So that was just, especially not Littlefinger, put it like that. And Littlefinger, him, walking toward the Lannister soldiers, them letting him in and him disappearing around the corner somewhere. It just makes me think that Littlefinger, hindsight is 20/20, of course, but it just kind of had that feeling that, what, this guy ain't even on your side. He's going to let the Lannisters do whatever they want to you, and he's not going to lift a finger. No one was going to lift a finger to help him, especially now that he's not Hand of the King and Catelyn's decision to abduct Tyrion.
It was also interesting to see that, well, nobody, first of all, helped him, but he again lied. That man, for such honor that he has, so much honor, values honor and promises, that man can lie. I don't remember, maybe there is, I just never thought about it, of a character or a person in real life who is, like, I don't know anybody personally who is that honorable and such a good liar at the same time. He's good. That is good. You have to give him that. I mean, he can lie, but he will, if he promises you something, he will die for it.
Yeah. I mean,
interesting man.
Yeah, he certainly lied, to protect Jon from Robert.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's not a perfect man. He'll do what he has to.
I was going to say, I think it's like there's the lying, but then there's also the mismanagement of, like, Cat. Do you feel like Cat could have kept it a secret if he, just how much resentment would have been? I know I'm taking this way off topic. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he. I mean, I think a part of him lying is sort of being disrespectful to your spouse. Like your dead sister is more important to you than your spouse after 20 years, really.
Well, I guess he didn't know her back then, but still, I mean, after he found out the woman he married, after he got to know the woman he married, I mean, heck, they've been married a long time. He must really not trust her, or she must be
right. And so
not trustworthy.
Seems a little bit overkill to me, but I mean, yeah.
At some point, right, when you get to know your spouse, you know, you were arranged. I mean, your marriage was arranged, right? And you kind of don't know what you can say in front of this stranger in a way. And then, but you know, they have your children, years pass.
Kat did run off and start a war with her sister. So, I mean, maybe.
Well, maybe he knows her.
Maybe
he knows her. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to tell anything to her.
Well, yeah.
Maybe he's smarter than I.
Yeah, that's going to be like the 5th read. You're going to be like, Ned was a freaking genius, and here's why.
Yeah. I mean, she does make rash decisions. We see that, and then she thinks about them. But you know, making a mistake about telling people or giving up his secret and then saying, "Oops, sorry," that wouldn't work.
Can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, no. So yeah, good for you, Ned. Good for you.
Well, at least John, you know, stayed alive all these years, so I'm not gonna condemn. I mean, you got to lie in this world.
Yeah.
You got to lie, because when he finally wanted to tell the truth about somebody or something, look what happened. He lost his head. So if you gotta tell a few lies to stay alive a little while longer, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Arya literally plays the lying game, and Sansa learns how to lie to stay alive with Littlefinger's coaching and all that stuff. Yeah. Great book, guys. Good job.
Yeah, I was also reading a little bit through the chapter, and Lord Stannis. They talked a little bit about Lord Stannis. Now, Lord Stannis has not been introduced into the story yet. He's gonna be there, you know, come the 2nd book. But I thought it was nice that they, you know, sprinkled a little bit of Lord Stannis here and there. You know, just planting the seeds for new characters along the way. And Lord Stannis is a character that's going to be very much in the story, but not in the story as of right now in this book. So good for him, you know, George, for
slowly. He doesn't dump it basically on everybody without introducing. He kind of introduces the introduction is very slow and not sudden, which is a good thing. There's hint here, hint there, and then also when you mentioned Stannis, it said that he didn't want that bastard there, right? He wanted to ship him or her. No, him, the guy, right? He shipped him off to Renly. So that also tells us a little bit about Stannis and what he thinks about bastards.
Yeah, Stannis, you know, is a cold, you know, heartless type of person. And I'm sure that he's not gonna like the fact that Joffrey, a bastard, is sitting on his throne later on. So with that, you know, there's gonna be a big war coming up, and just little things here and there that's signifying that things are gonna get bad later on. He asked Littlefinger a question. Why would Jon Arryn take such sudden interest in the king's base-born children? And Littlefinger, I'm sure that Littlefinger already knows what's going on right now. Knows that Cersei, you know, has had her brother's children. So for him to make some flippant remark about it, what did he say? Saying he was the hand of the king. Doubtless Robert asked him to see to what they provided him for. So, I mean, I'm sure he already knows, just like Varys and Illyrio know, that those kids are not Robert's. I mean, I think everyone knows at this point, at least in my opinion. I don't know if he knew in the show, but I think he knows already in the books that those kids are not Robert's children. So I mean, it really shows, you know, how deeply woven he is in this story already. You know,
Stannis?
No, not Stannis, Littlefinger.
Oh, well, because I think Stannis knows too. That's why he split, because he knew his brother would go crazy. right?
I don't no no. I don't think that Stannis knows. It's gonna be Ned who's gonna tell him later on by sending him that book.
But
But
Renly knew.
Littlefinger,
Renly knew. Renly, I feel like Stannis and Renly knew, and I feel like they sort of betrayed Robert a little bit. Am I tinfoiling with that hard? Um,
I'm not sure. I could be
Renly,
wrong.
Renly was scheming to get Marjorie Tyrell. I think he was going to reveal the incest, get Marjorie Tyrell to be queen after he did whatever he was going to do to Cersei, like probably kill her, right?
And her children too.
And her children, and
yeah.
I mean, that's Stannis' whole claim. And Stannis ran off. I mean, I always thought
Really?
Stannis left because he knew shit was about to go down.
I think that Renly may have known because of what you said about Marjorie and trying to depose Cersei, but I don't think Stannis knew until Ned told him for sure
Really?
and gave him proof. Because such an accusation, the kind of man Stannis is, he would want proof of that. He would need some sort of evidence to.
Stannis was going around to brothels with Jon Arryn, and Jon Arryn died, and Stannis ran away.
Yeah, but that still doesn't mean that he knew.
He knew that there's black-haired bastards.
He knew about the black-haired, the black-haired bastards.
Sorry,
but I think maybe at the very least he suspected that something was going on, but didn't really make a move until he knew for sure after reading that tome that Ned sent to him that there was something going on, that there were bastards. Cersei had a bunch of bastards.
Yeah, and then Baba Husky says hair color. That is so important.
Hair color is very important, no doubt about it. It's pretty much the only thing that we have. We don't have genetic testing, in this world. So the hair color would certainly mean a lot. It would certainly mean a lot. And and every bastard has black hair. And then we run up on 3 blonde children. Where did they come from?
Exactly.
And that book was the tipping point. I can't wait till we get to that chapter when Ned finally realizes, when he opens the book and goes through the lineages of the Baratheon family and sees exactly what's going on here. So I can't wait for that chapter.
Yeah, and who was it? Ned is thinking about, like you said, Robert's children. I mean, bastards, I guess, children had dark hair, and he says his firstborn, or however he. So I thought that for some reason they only made that line, or not this exact line, but Cersei mentions the first baby she had with Robert, the baby who died, right? And then
the baby had black hair. It was
Robert. Exactly. Yeah. And then for some reason I thought that it's not even mentioned in a book. I completely forgot about it.
I think that's show only.
But here,
that's just to show what a good actress Lena Headey is.
But what I'm saying is, I thought that the book did not acknowledge the fact that Robert had a child with Cersei with dark hair. But here it says that he did, right? Or am I reading it incorrectly?
They said it in the show. What can you read?
Not the show, in the book. In the book, actually, I'm gonna find it.
Can you find it and read it for us? Because I may have forgotten.
I think
forgotten that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Cersei getting pregnant with Robert's child.
Yes.
And the baby died.
Yeah, it says Robert's firstborn, same hair color. So this is after. The baby reminds Robert of Jon.
That's are we talking about Maya Stone? Who are the firstborn? The ones that are bastards older than Joffrey.
Yeah, it doesn't say his bastard. It says firstborn.
His firstborn was a woman from the Vale. Was a woman that he got pregnant in the Vale, not Cersei.
Maya Stone's mommy.
Maya Stone's mother.
I'm gonna check that later. But I was just surprised that it's mentioned, and it sounded like they're making that firstborn. It's not. To me, it didn't sound like he's talking about Maya. It sounded to me like he's talking about some other baby, but this is just the way I understood it.
Well, yeah, but they also said, and I'm not trying to, let me go ahead and correct you quickly, that they made it sure that in that chapter that it was said that Robert did lay with a woman in the veil.
Oh yeah,
And a
yes,
bastard
yeah.
with it. So I don't believe.
Mhm.
I mean, Maya Stone is not Cersei and Robert's
No,
child.
no. I was thinking about the actual child he had with Cersei, the
Mhm.
firstborn with Cersei. That's how I understood it, but maybe that's just my interpretation of it.
Well, yeah, but I know for sure. I know for sure that they said that in the show, but I don't know about the books. I don't know about
Yeah.
the books.
Mhm.
But I could be wrong. I'm not quite sure though. I would have to look it up too and try to figure it out as well. But yeah, the incest, adultery is very, is very heavy in this chapter. A lot of whores, a lot of pimps, a lot of sex, and a lot of the consequences of having unprotected sex when they, and the children that are born from it. That's
Mhm.
very much prevalent in this chapter. And to me, it kind of overshadowed the whole confrontation, with Jamie at the end, in my opinion. I just thought that all of this had a hand in the story, and it does have a hand in the story later on. And I really, really appreciate
Mhm.
it. Anything else that stood out for anyone in this chapter?
There is another reference that Littlefinger says about sun rising in the east. That's just interesting the way it's said. Littlefinger says that the sun rises in the east. Yeah. Again, there's a mention of Tyrion. When Jamie describes him as having sharp tongue. I'm hoping Tyrion will keep his tongue. He needs his tongue.
Yeah, he might as well not even be in the story if he doesn't have a tongue.
Yeah,
His mouth is his weapon.
Tyrion is all that. His tongue is all he's got, and his brain. Yeah. In the beginning, it said that rain was like the way the rain was falling down on Ned's head. Mentioning Ned and head it's in the same sentence. He didn't do that. George didn't do that just to do it. I'm sure he mentions Ned and Ned's head for a reason, foreshadowing. Let's see, I'm just reading through my notes. And Jen, I don't know if you were saying something, but I see you're muted. Do you want to chime in at some point? And I'll just keep looking.
Okay, did we talk about how when Ned is riding back through the city, and he thinks of Jon Snow right in front of his face, and it's a younger face of his, so like his own. If the gods frown so on bastards, why are men filled with such lust?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys talk about that while I was
Not
gone?
yet. I don't
Sorry,
think we
pet
did.
emergency. Pet emergency.
Well, yeah, that is a good question. I can't presume to know what goes on inside the heart of a man. I wish that I could answer it, but that is a very good question and a broad question. I think we're gonna have to. I wish that there was a man here that can, answer that question, because I don't think that any woman could see so clearly inside of a man's heart any more than a man can see inside of a woman's heart. But I have no answer for that. But that is a very, very good question, no doubt about it.
Exactly. And then it goes on to say later in the chapter, Ned was soaked through to the bone and his soul had grown cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to have a cold soul soon enough, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and
it's something that we can do about it, man.
Let's talk about this. If you guys haven't talked about this, one of the things that Jamie says when he confronts Ned is, your wife has my little brother. Remember him? He's short, witty. And then Jamie goes on to say, oh, and Ned lies. This is one of the times we see Ned lie. And he says, she took him on my orders. And then Jamie goes on to say, well, with the Honorable Catelyn Tully of River Run, not Catelyn Tully of Winterfell, and not Catelyn Stark, with the Honorable Catelyn Tully of River Run, hurt a captive. And then he goes on to say, I am not willing to bet my brother's life on a woman's honor. And Jamie essentially ends up betting everything on a woman's honor. And I'm speaking of Brienne of Tarth.
Brienne, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the first thing that popped in my head when I heard that, woman's honor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jen.
I think the whole, if we're going to circle back to Brienne, I think the way Jamie handles things when he has two hands is so completely different than when he can't fight his way out of it. Like he can be witty and funny and a bully and punish people physically. You know, I mean, I guess he does hit, what is it? That Connington kid with his like metal hand. But anyway, my point is that we see just Jamie and is just big of a brat as he's always been. He's going to run out with 20 people, and not kill Ned, but kill 3 of his friends. But he changes we see him changing. We see him change. That's my super profound statement. Sorry, I just thought of it. I wanted to share.
Oh yeah, he becomes. I mean, in the Feast for Crows, by the end of his chapter, I am just cheering for Jamie. He has found his true self.
So one of the things I wonder sometimes is that he's just, the bar on Jamie is so incredibly low. Are we just cheering because he's like at the level of a decent human being, or is he actually a good person? I just feel like he's less horrible than he used to be.
He's not.
He's growing.
Yeah.
He's objective. Oh, I don't want to see objective. Like objectively, he's actually a decent human. It's not just that he's not as horrible as he used to be.
I mean, everybody has a right to grow. Over there, it's years. I mean, hopefully I don't know how old. I don't remember how old he is in the books.
Cersei's age, however old she is.
Yeah, I don't remember, but like in the books. But hopefully, technically, he should have been grown already, like mentally, emotionally. But I guess everybody grows at their own pace. Maybe they need suffering.
And
like
I mean,
the other.
He's also he's in a romantic relationship with his twin sister. So I mean, I think we can. Like, who knows what who controls him? You know what I mean?
Oh, she controls him.
Yeah, until up to a point, you know. He finally gets a hold of himself and
later,
realize who he is, and he gets better in time. And having Brienne there was certainly a help to him.
And Mackenzie points out in the chat, and I was thinking the same thing as she wrote this, that the whole time he's growing, is he really growing? Because Cersei's claws are in him. I think once he breaks 3 of her, we see a lot of emotional growth from Jamie, because she was a hindrance. She was a hindrance on him. And
people do crazy things for love, right? He killed a kid
right.
He tried to kill a kid, so why wouldn't? Yeah, poor guy, probably. Whatever is in his mind, he's growing. Hopefully, he'll continue growing. But yeah, going forward, I guess, turning better than worse, right? Hopefully he's not getting any worse.
Well, yeah.
Marie says, I don't think so either. I think he's going to get better. I think Jamie probably eventually kills the Night's King, and I think that's why the Kingslayer moniker never dies from him, because essentially that is what he is. He's a Kingslayer. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? Now, we know that, it really wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Just a lot of people don't know the backstory on the Ares situation. And then those who do tend to look at it, as a very one-sided thing. But you were a white cloak, But I think that Jamie probably ends up killing the Night's King. And that's why the Kingslayer moniker never dies for him, because that is what he is.
Well, let me say this, and I totally agree with you, Jennifer. Him wearing that white cloak, yeah, he wanted to be a knight, but the truth is, he was just a hostage of that king. You know, he was nothing but a hostage. So I'm not really. Plus, the king was crazy. He was known for burning people alive. You know, the Targaryen madness was all through him. He was raping his sister. I mean, why is anybody? I mean, they started a war trying to get rid of this guy, and he did it with no. I mean, I never really understood why they called him the Kingslayer and why they badgered him so much about it.
Well, because he was,
I think
sworn
people
to protect him. He was sworn to protect him. Like if Ned had done it, Ned wasn't sworn to protect him. That's the distinguishing line for as far as I understand it.
But I
he
mean,
was the only one who had guts to do it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't like him in general in the beginning, and he's changing now, which is good. But the only thing I don't agree with people who say that, you know, saying Kingslayer is a bad thing. I mean, honor. What did somebody say? Screw honor. Brienne said that somewhere later, right? I mean, come on. The dude was crazy. He needed to be put down, basically.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
You guys, let's go to the chat for a minute.
He's absolutely right. They're not killing.
Okay, not there. Okay. Mackenzie Burns says, I think that Jaime wasn't able to protect Rhaegar's two oldest children, but he is going to help protect Jon when he reaches Winterfell in season 8. I think so too. I think in some way he is going to save Jon and probably kill the Night's King. When Ned mentions the price, Bubba Husky, when Ned mentions the price he paid to keep Lyanna's secrets, plural, what do you think he meant?
When Ned mentions the price he paid to keep.
Can you read that again? I'm trying to find it. I know what you mean. I know which part. I have notes on it, but there's one word I couldn't pick out.
When Ned mentioned the price that he paid to keep Lyanna's secrets, and he says secrets, not secret, what do you think he meant?
Maybe the reason why she ran away with him. Maybe the reason why there was this annulment. Maybe there's so much we don't know. We're just, you know, we hear rumors, so-called rumors, and we judge.
The Night of the Laughing Tree could have been a secret, you know, because that's how he and Lyanna and Rhaegar met, and that they ran off. That's a secret in of itself, let alone like the stuttering. The dialogue is that Lyanna was kidnapped and raped, and like maybe he knows not only is that child.
Bubba Husky is saying maybe 2 babies, and that's where they're going with secrets. I mean, maybe. No, I'm starting to think that could be a possibility, but there is absolutely no way to know until, you know,
I used to really want Mira Reed and Jon Snow to be twins just because their curls were so similar on the show. Like they both had this like beautiful mop of black curly hair, and I was like, you know, that I dug that idea for a little while.
Bubba Husky says, Sarah, I love that I have that effect on the ladies. I guess he means making you stutter.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
you gave her the a fit of the vapors. Y'all ever heard it put that away, like in romantic?
It's like from 1800.
Get me a bit of the vapors. I had to go to the ladies' retirement room and get some smelling salts.
That is funny. Is that how they're called right now?
Yeah. Is that what the kids are doing these days?
Oh, Lord. Not bath salt. Smelling salt. Oh, Lord have mercy. This is definitely even got PG-13 in here. Mackenzie Burns says the same thing that you were saying, LMR. The secrets could be surrounding her story with Rhaegar, the Night of the Laughing Tree. Yeah, because remember, Aerys did say, bring me who that was. He wanted them to be, because you remember, Aerys was real paranoid and he thought everybody was against him. And, you know, and the fact just that there was a secret night freaked him out, I think.
So yeah, like we, especially in the books, we're not even anywhere close to anything. But in the show, since we're talking about that, just because we see what we saw, I guess we didn't see everything. They still have stuff to show us, and who knows, maybe sometime after it airs, we're gonna be like, ah, yeah, you were right, whoever it was.
I want that to be true.
Which
so
part?
bad.
Which part?
All of it. That there's so much more they haven't showed us yet, and we just need to wait.
I mean, what would be the fun in it if they showed us? Yeah, this is it. That's it. Okay, nothing else. Okay,
Well, I mean, I think this is my underlying anxiety is that this is going to end. It's not going to be with the books. You know what I mean? I'm upset.
It would be that cruel. So if the show doesn't give us what we want, or doesn't, finish this how it should be finished properly, George would not be such a cruel man. I hope not. I mean, he's gonna tear out like the last 5 pages of the book and say, "Ta-da!"
Yeah, I mean, and then there's also like, real life too. It's you get over it. The man doesn't owe us anything, but yeah, I'm as upset as anybody else.
Well, nobody wants to leave a legacy of, ticking so many people off, right? Like he would just kind of no, it would not be good for him, even after like 100 years from now. He would be known as a man who did not deliver what people wanted. I don't think he could do that. Anyway, we have to be hopeful, right, that we're gonna get what we need from George at least.
Well, yeah.
He's right. I bet those books are in his closet.
I hope so. I told work, I'm like, I need work off when this book comes out, and they just like laugh in my face. They're like, okay, you can have off.
Those books
like as in it's not gonna ever happen. They like are mean about it.
Misha, I didn't hear you. I really wanted to hear your comment. What about the books?
Yeah, I just think that he's got those books hiding in his closet somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure he's probably finished them up and just waiting, for the right time to release them to the public. I think he's got Wins finished, or at the most part finished. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, and I know he's been busy, but I just can't believe that he's just getting started on the book. I think he's gotten the majority of this book written, and it's just sitting around in his closet. And I think he's waiting for the show to end before he can, deliver it to the people. And that's what I'm hoping for too. I don't want the show to spoil the books because they've done enough of that already. Do you have any questions for my people in the chat? Please post them right now. If you have any questions, please post them right now in the chat. We'll answer them for you.
And I'll look through my notes too. I made a couple more here.
Yeah, it was kind of like a flashback chapter, but they did have, a pivotal part in the story, but I think it's just a flashback chapter as well. A lot of things were said, a lot of things were happening in the past, and they were just reviewing, and Ned was just reviewing all of this in his mind, meeting of the prostitute and her baby, Lyanna, and all of those sections, just little pieces. And they're going to do this a lot in the Eddard chapter. He's going to be moving toward another destination while he's thinking about what happened in the past. So, I mean, that's definitely what's going to happen in the Eddard chapters later on.
I found another quote that I wanted to run by you ladies. Let's see. This one is about. That's when Jamie was talking to or threatening Ned. He said, and I kind of scribbled it. Let's see if I can read that thing. He said, "I will butcher you like Ares if I must. I'll soon you die with a sword in your hand." When I was reading it, after I wrote it, I read it a couple times, and what I picked out is die with a sword hand. The whole quote reads, "I will butcher you like Ares if I must, but I'll soon you die with the sword in your hand. So when you pick the words out, they read die with the sword hand, and Ned is a hand, hand. His title is hand. So he kind of in a way threatens him.
Jamie ends up with a golden hand.
Yeah, die with a sword hand.
I thought it was that he would rather a good fight. They sort of alluded to that in the book, the show, where I think he gets stabbed in the leg on the show, and he's like, "Oh, I really wanted that fight." Upon your notes, I do like hearing what you wrote. I hear, hand and Ned, hand and Jamie, sword. It's his sword hand, but also I just took it as like, I'd rather you fight back just for the sport of it, is how I read it.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie is so bold and so arrogant. He would love to defeat Eddard Stark in a duel.
And he's bragging about killing Aerys. I'll butcher you like I did Aerys. Like, it was a fight. I mean, it was. On the show, they had him running away, but he was like, he screamed like a girl, I think, right? Didn't he? Not. I don't know that it was a fight per se.
There was some static. Oh my gosh, is like I hear clicking. I'm sorry, Sarah. Can you repeat the last? Because I know the words were like clicking away. I don't know.
Oh no.
What you said. That's okay. I'm sorry. I caught you off guard, but like.
No, that's okay. That Jamie is essentially bragging about killing Aerys. Like, I'll butcher you like I did Aerys. I don't know that it was necessarily a fight that you'd want to brag about. I said we was like ran away.
Those are harsh words, and I don't remember him being so cocky about it, right? Like before, he's not like, oh, I'm Kingslayer. I'm gonna butcher you like I did with what. And he usually keeps it to himself, from what I remember, right?
It's sort of like Tyrion. Tyrion's like, if you know what they are gonna shit on you for, then just wear it as a badge of honor, and it can never be used against you. I think he's like, okay, I'm gonna be the monster you say I am. You think I'm the Kingslayer? You're right. I'm horrible. I do. I kill kings, and I'm gonna kill you too. I think he's just talking. Talking.
Yeah, there was a lot of anger in that. I mean,
you guys, can I say something real quick? Because I see there's a lot of upheaval in the chat. Listen, I do have a few words on here blocked. I have the word whore. I have the word junkie. I have the word cunt. I can't think of the rest of them, but if you put that in a comment, because there's somebody who comes to the chat sometime called delusional whore. I have to literally push a button every time she makes a comment that says show. Okay, but I've been letting every comment go through. Did Emmanuel, what's his name, hurt my feelings? 100%. Yes, he did. That's why I walked off and got myself together. But as far as somebody not letting comments through, that's not happening.
What did the person say to you that made you delete the comment, Jennifer?
I didn't delete any of his comments. Somebody else in the chat who's a moderator put him in timeout because I think they could see that he was bothering me. And I felt like he was trolling me a little bit, because first he said something about the older chick is getting something, and
I remember that age comment.
And something like that, and I said something about it, and I really tried to reel it back in several times. Like in 9 months, that's the first person I think that has ever been put in timeout even, and it wasn't even me who did it, but I think some of the other people could see that it bothered me. Obviously, I put the camera on, put it on mute, and walked off for quite a long time, and somebody else put him in timeout, and he just didn't bother coming back. But it'll always like put show or hide on a comment. I always push show unless somebody was calling somebody else in the chat an ugly name, which has never happened. But I never don't let a comment through. So I'm really not sure where that's coming from, but I just want to make that clear.
I don't even see comments here before. Normally I can see them and I can hide them, but I don't even see a comment
Well, like it'll say show hide, you guys, and unless it was somebody like calling another person in the chat an ugly name or calling somebody on the panel an ugly name, like say somebody called Cersei a whore. We definitely let that through. I mean,
Baba Husky says it's just deleting parts of people's comments. So I don't know, like normally when I'm in mod, I can see comment and it says, like you said, show or hide, and I can click hide or show it if it's just basically using a word properly, let's just say this way. But now I'm not even seeing show or hide, it's just showing me that it was deleted. So I don't know how.
I mean, I'm not deleting anything.
Yeah, no,
I'm not giving a chance to, but like I said, I don't think there's ever, excuse me, y'all, I just burped. I don't think there's ever been a comment where I hit it, because it's always talking about a character.
Okay. No, so like if it's okay.
So I'm really not sure what's going on.
So just to because we have a lot of great mods here, so let me just check to make sure that this is what you said, Jen. For the mods, like info for the mods, it's okay to show a bad word, like whatever words Jen said that are questionable, as long as they make sense in the sentence and are not hurting anybody's feelings,
right?
Or
and,
not
and,
offending
Mackenzie said right here. Thank you, Mackenzie. She says, I can say that I put that person in timeout because he was saying inappropriate things and it was bothering me as well. And I know for a fact he hurt my feelings because I'm sitting right here saying so.
What did the person say, Jennifer?
It was just a few different things. That the whole panel was closed-minded was one thing, which I don't find us to be closed-minded in the least. I know I'm certainly not. And then an ageist comment, let's just put it at that. There was an ageist comment made.
Okay. For all of our people in the chat, you know, you have the right to speak your opinion, but don't make it personal. You know, be respectful and be mindful of everyone here. Don't make it personal. We're not here to upset anyone. We're not here to judge or hurt anyone or anything. This is a free flowing open chat. We're talking about Game of Thrones, but don't make it personal. I mean, just don't make anything personal, or you will be deleted, or I'll put you out myself if it comes to that. But just make sure that this is a good time here.
Right, you guys, and that's the thing, you know, everybody stops what they're doing. LMR stops spending 2 hours with their children. Sarah stops 2 hours with her children. Me and Misha, I stop. Tom with my husband. You guys stop whatever you're doing. If you don't walk away from this feeling good about yourself and uplifted, then something's wrong. Yeah. You know, because anything you spend your free time on, you should walk away from feeling like, you know, I just really enjoyed myself. Mm-hmm. Not like that hurt my feelings, that wasn't fun. Okay. And that's all. That's all.
And one more thing to our moderators. We have a few here. Don't just use your common sense on a comment. We're trusting you guys. We're trusting Mackenzie. We're trusting Marie. We're trusting Sarah. We're trusting LMR. We're trusting me. Jennifer is trusting us to govern, her channel so it could be a little bit easier on her. So use your common sense and don't just delete a message because you disagree with it, okay? And this is a something to say to myself as well and to all of our moderators here. So just, use your common sense. Don't just, don't abuse the privilege of being a moderator by deleting people's comments. It's silly. It's silly and it's stupid, and we don't want that here. I mean, I see another part of a comment was deleted by the one true David Adams. David, please, don't use your common sense. I don't believe that there is so much horror in this chat that it needs to be deleted for every other comment, So just use your common sense and don't abuse the rule of being a moderator, okay? I hate to say it and say it so harshly, but I want to say it to everyone, including myself. Don't abuse the privilege of being a moderator. Now let's go on back to the story.
And you guys, Mary, let me just say this one last thing. Mary B, and she knows her stuff too because she's involved in trivia. She's saying make sure you have live chat on instead of top chat. Apparently that changes things as well. Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to the discussion, guys.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let me just go ahead and be quiet because I see more pieces of chats, more pieces of comments are being deleted. And maybe it's not, maybe there is something going on with the chat. Maybe we got to fix it later on. But, if you're a moderator, don't abuse the privilege of being a moderator. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, back with the story. We Now they've had this big altercation outside, and his horse has fallen on him and broke his leg. So he's very much in pain right now. It's even gotten so bad that bone is sticking out through his meat, through his skin. So and I really kind of hate that happened to him because now he's going to be walking with a limp. Edard is going to be walking with a limp, and you don't really want to show weakness around these people. And him walking with a limp and on a cane, it really shows weakness now. And the people that want him out may want to take advantage of Ned even more because of his injury. You can't show weakness around here. So I really, really hate that he has suffered such a bad injury, such a noticeable injury.
And he needs a cane, he has to confess in the sept of Baylor, and he's just like trying to walk through the pain, it's over. I think it's a little bit later when Varys says, "I trust you're a dead man," but I mean, he's on his way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is showing that he's gonna meet his end soon.
Yeah, it's just a lot of foreshadowing,
Bubba Husky said exactly what I was thinking, though. It wasn't even, what do they call it? There's the compound fracture. That's when it goes through the skin.
Yes.
And then there's the other fracture when it doesn't go through the skin. It mentions this as being an extreme compound fracture. It was his thigh bone, which would have been his tibula was through his skin from his horse falling on him, which is, oh gosh, oh Lord. And he even talks about how he's in so much pain that the city guard found a litter, but then on the way back to the Red Keep, he even fell out from the pain 2 or 3 times till he just lost complete consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, they're going to have to reset that bone as well. So the pain of having to push that bone back into place, is going to be even more painful for him. And it's just going to affect him for a long time. He needs rest. He needs to go home. That's the thing. But he's not really going to get any kind of rest, in King's Landing, with Robert worrying him every step of the way to be the hand of the king, with having to worry about Cersei and what she's going to say and do.
I think at this point in time, he's actually quit. I think Littlefinger is like harassing him about, the hand. He's like, I don't have the quote, but making fun of him about being the hand. And he is like, I'm not the hand anymore. I'm not the hand. So I guess he doesn't get re-handed until
right. No, you're exactly right, Sarah. And Jamie takes advantage of that. See, the fact that I'm glad you brought that up because I had completely forgot. The fact that he had quit his hand left him very, very open. He was kind of protected as hand of the king. Nobody would dare, to accost the hand of the king and kill every one of his men on the street. But when he didn't have that title anymore, he kind of left himself open for a world of hurt there.
Mm-hmm. And right on time with Catelyn, taking hold of Tyrion on the East Road. I mean, this is really the bad time for him to go on, and separate himself from the hand, being the hand of the king, because Robert, as of right now, is his protection. I mean, I'm sure it probably would have came to blows much sooner if Robert hadn't been in his corner. And we're all going to see how bad it's going to fall and how horrible things are going to get for Ned once Robert is gone. So I totally agree with you.
I'm just surprised by the kind of like decisions that he makes. Ned seems, I guess, I think he seemed very rational to me. He thinks about stuff, and it just seems odd that he would react. I mean, it was about, disagreeing with Robert about killing Daenerys, but that's a huge decision based only on he should have known. He knew about all other crazy stuff, right? And he didn't act on it until then. It's such a rash decision. But yeah, passion, right? He was passionate about it, so he just did what he thought was right at that moment. Like Kat did, right? She acted on her emotions. I mean, they're just people, right?
Right. No, you guys know how easy it is to I call it displacing anger. Okay, and it happens to me a lot at work, and and I do it. I did it today. It's when, and everybody knows what it is, but you're mad about something else, and then something else. Okay, your order at the Burger King gets messed up, or something. Yesterday, I went to work. Everybody, in case you don't know, I'm just a cashier at the Dollar Tree. Yeah, I'm just a cashier at the Dollar Tree. Well, our air conditioners were broken. We have 3. It's a pretty big Dollar Tree. We have 3. 2 of them were broken. We had a service call, but they had to order some parts. But, I had about 2 customers come up to me who basically totally went off to me, just shy of cussing me out. And, you're thinking in your head, like, do I really look like I have any control over our air conditioning system? But all the same, it's displacing anger. And I get it. Hey, it was hot here yesterday, y'all. It was hot. It was so hot in that Dollar Tree. You know how coconut oil normally looks like Crisco? You can see through it. It melted.
Oh no. Are you for real, Jen? It
no,
melted?
For real. That's how hot it was up in the Dollar Tree.
Wow, no, that is hot. That is inhumane. I didn't know that they can do that. That you work in that condition. Ooh. Especially working at the store, I would assume people would be guaranteed a cool place, right? That's just odd.
Fred made a good point. He said, just remember, thank you and fuck you are really not that many degrees separated from each other. And if you really think about it, that's true.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I didn't catch it. Somebody says thinking I was reading stuff. What did you say, Jen? I'm sorry.
I said, Fred said, Jen, just remember that really thank you and fuck you are not that far removed. And you know how they say that
Jen, but what if you said that by accident? Like, you can't, I mean, like, I could see that getting me through a couple of bad encounters, but then
I would get it serious.
Yeah, if you accidentally said fuck you to a customer, it would not.
There has only been, I've worked at the Dollar Tree since before Easter, and there's only been one time where really somebody got so mad at me that they were all complaining to the manager, talking about they was going to call the 1-800 number, and it was nowhere near anything like that. But at the very least, I would get written up, 3 write-ups, and you're fired. And I mean, you get written up for stuff like your register has to either be $3 over or under.
But wait, like, how long do you have for those 3 strikes? Do they ever expire?
I think it's 90 days. Like, okay, if you get anything like that in the first 90 days you work, I don't think you don't get hired permanently. You know what I mean?
Lamar, we have a write-up system at my job.
What is your write? Okay, I think if you get 3 write-ups within 90 days of first starting, you don't get the job. And then
Yeah, within a calendar year.
So let's say, okay, you have 3, right? You can have, so space them out properly, people.
Yeah, or just blow them all in one day.
There you go. You got them, right? There are like no penalty points, like they expire, right? You can't have.
I'm gonna have to ask in 2019 what happens to 2018.
I would like, that would be an odd question at the interview. Like, okay, so can I lump them together like my vacation days?
How quickly? Yeah.
Like, can I use them now to you?
No, it's they're really bad with parking.
What?
It's parking it's not parking tickets, it's speeding tickets, it's traffic tickets, traffic violations.
Wow.
And they're not actual like police officers, but if they write you up 3 times, then you can't drive to work anymore. You can't park there, which is a problem, right? So
Wow.
yeah, I know. I answered my cell phone, which I shouldn't have done, but I also have to feel like, how are you not watching me to just see me do this? Like, it was a second. But anyway, yeah, I got one. But people get them for like, they don't stay long enough at the stop sign before they start driving again. That'll get you a ticket. Yeah.
Wow.
You guys, let me go to the chat real quick. Fred says that he loves you too, Sarah. I love that. We know Fred is Sarah's big super fan, and I love that. Sarah is so sweet and cute and beautiful. So that's so understandable. Awesome. Mackenzie Burns says it's all in the way you say it. Fred again says if you don't understand that, you don't work retail. Bubba Husky says, I got reported to the district manager at CVS the day of the big eclipse. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. Okay. And Bubba Husky says, just so you know, I don't work at CVS. I guess he was just using that as an example. Or maybe you mean you got fired. I'm not sure. And then Mary says, I only curse at my computer at work. I curse at the one at my house. Oh, Bubba Husky says, some lady was being one, so I called her a see you next Tuesday. Look, you guys, if you knew how many times I wanted to say, and that's why I like Sansa so much, because there are so many times when I really, really want to say something horrible.
And a woman's courtesy is her armor, right?
Yeah, and I also heard somebody else say that sometimes when somebody else has no courtesy, you have to use both yours and theirs. I find that is true a lot at the Dollar Tree. And this is a tremulous smile. See how I'm almost crying, but I'm smiling? That's tremulous.
Jen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at your.
Good. No, you're not. It's everything's good. I just find that and I've just had just a really kind of a hard day and just an unusual day. And I just, gosh, y'all, can't we just all get along?
Exactly.
I mean, to quote Rodney King, God, that's probably a bad example. That poor fella, he was found dead in his swimming pool. Nobody knows whether he was murdered or not, but can't we just all get along? Oh Lord.
There's a funny comment. If not a funny comment, it's more like I guess a silly mood here. I wasn't sure what Bubba Husky meant before about being written up at CVS, and then I found the rest of his comment. Apparently, no, they assumed I worked there. I can just see that. Like if you blow up at a person at the store and somebody wants to write you up and you're not even working there, and I can just imagine going along with them. You're like, okay, you write me up. They, do the papers like. And they start doing it, and like I don't even work here, dude. I don't know what you're saying, but
were you wearing a red shirt? No, there has to be more to the story. Like, were you dressed like
to work there? Then.
Yeah, it was that makes sense. I mean, so many times at Home Depot, I don't know. I kept asking somebody who was wearing orange. I'm like, dude, you're wearing orange to Home Depot with white things. Like,
don't wear red to the Target. If
You
Yeah.
know what, y'all?
wearing a
Maybe
red shirt-
on a bad day, I'm going to wear a red. And by the way, I worked at Target for like a week during Halloween, and it was having to put up that Halloween candy. I quit, and it was like a no show, no call. I just never went back. I didn't even go get my half a paycheck. I never want to see
Sorry.
Target again. I swear to you.
Yeah.
It was having to put that candy up that did it to me. You guys, so, and you
Yeah.
guys, I swear I'm so sorry. I know that we have not, it always says show or hide, and I know I haven't hidden anybody's comment. I promise.
I've never hit hide.
I will cry in front of y'all. I will do anything in front of y'all. I will not lie.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised because usually when I see comments, I can, like I said, I can block it or I can hide it or whatever I can do. But right now, whatever I see a comment deleted, I don't know if it's automatically deleted or what is going on, but I just see them already deleted. I don't even have an option to do anything.
I think it's YouTube, and I'll after
That's
the
weird,
chat
yeah.
I will check the settings, but I only have 3 words blocked, and I shared them with you guys before. What
Yeah.
they were, and that's only because I don't want somebody to get huffed up and somebody to call somebody else that. Cersei actually gets called a hoe in the chat all the time, and I always show it.
Yep. And let's see. There was another comment here, a funny one. But as I'm looking for it, maybe you can find it. Like, I wanted to add something. There was about being. What was it? Funny thing at work today. They told us where I'm working, we a lot of people wear badges different places, right? So I have a badge. There's a special note on it that says something I can do things anyway. So we were always told when we're kind of going between where we need to go to always hide our badge because people will stop us for no reason. I mean, for whatever reason they have. And it's just so funny. I mean, technically, I don't have to answer anything they're saying. I'm kind of working. It's complicated. So I oftentimes find myself putting the badge, places, even though I have to have the badge out when I'm not actually working on the thing and I'm just walking between the places. It's basically, I turn around, badge goes in, and I keep going because I can just expect people stopping me, like, I'm stopping people at Home Depot saying, where can I find this or that? And like, I don't even work here. And I look at them like,
I used to
you
work
were
at a
asking
place.
for it.
They would tell you to always keep your ID on when you're like changing locations because if you get hit by a car,
Yeah.
like, they don't want to be able to identify your body.
Yeah, true.
They told us that at orientation.
When I drive to work, I know we're completely off the thing, but this is funny when you mention it. So I always have my badge on, and then when I go places, I better hide it because I don't want people knowing what I do because they're going to be anyway. Like, it's just they told us to better basically have it on, but hide it if you don't need it. I'm like, okay, you're my boss. I'll hide my badge. Anyway, we're so off topic right now.
Yeah.
Is
It
anybody else
doesn't
ready?
matter. Sometimes I've noticed that we have a little fun getting off topic. Sometimes, because we just have. Sometimes it's okay.
Oh yeah, I see a
know
chat
this.
here. I see a chat here from Fred. It says something customer service where you work, LMR. Remind me not to go there. No, I don't work with customer service. I work somewhere else.
You
But
guys,
yeah,
I
it's a
know
big
this.
place. Yeah.
I pull my name tag. I pull my Dollar Tree name tag off immediately when I get off work, and sometimes even if I want something, I don't. I get the hell out of there. And if I have to go to the bathroom or get a drink, I go over to Latina La Tienda, which is like right next door, and those people know me.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
I love those grapefruit burritos. They
the what?
kinda taste like
Grapefruit what?
burritos. It's a drink. It kind of tastes like a
Ooh.
squirt if you've ever had one of those.
Oh, you gotta message me that. I love Squirt. I love anyway, I think I'm hungry. We're out of Squirt tomorrow's we're going shopping tomorrow. I wonder if they carry that stuff here. Anyway.
It's pretty
do you
good.
think?
What it is a grapefruit flavored soda is what it is. And I know y'all were thinking, ooh, but it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. It's not it's not like regular grapefruit juice. It's almost like Sprite, but a little bit different. And yeah. So
Do we have a lady here who is going to, are we going to be on a panel, or is there a lady here that's going to be on a panel on Kind of Thrones, or no? Am I just making stuff up right now? I don't know.
What was the question?
No, my question is, I'm thinking about what is it called? I think somebody's muted. Somebody's talking right now. I hear fruits and drinks, and I'm thinking Westeros and Sarah, you're muted. I see you're talking, but
I'm
go
chewing
ahead.
gum.
Were you saying something?
I was chewing gum, and it probably
Okay.
looked like I was speaking, but I was actually just enjoying the show. Yes, I am going to be at Con of Thrones, and I'm going, which a lot of people are, and if you're going, you should, and you don't have your schedule set in stone. There's Friday night at 5. Well, it's not Friday night, but Friday at 5. Yeah. I have a panel on food, and I haven't put it all together yet, but I'm compiling ideas. So,
there you go.
yes,
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Thinking food, and I'm thinking different fruit over there discussed. And
wait, is that what time your panel is?
Friday at 5. I'm happy.
I thought it was Saturday at 3. I'm so glad you told me. I'll be there.
No, that's
I
fine.
will be there. I don't know why.
Fine.
I thought I said that on the skip because remember I told you I really thought the picture of you because there's a picture of you under where you can look up the itinerary, and that's a really, really great picture of you.
Oh, thank you. I took it myself in my hallway.
It's beautiful.
I went to Con of Thrones last year, and I feel like the most fun panels I was in, I sort of wandered into. So I just hope people will wander in and enjoy it, and then I'm done and I get to enjoy everyone else's. So it'll be good. I'm looking forward to this.
Are you going to cook for them too? Like the sun.
Well, am I going to cook for them?
We are going to after you get done, we're going to the Mexican themed restaurant on one of the levels, and we're going to have a big ass margarita on my treat. They're supposed to have cocktail like flavored margaritas, which I think even you would enjoy, Misha, because you say you like a daiquiri. I think you would enjoy a frozen margarita. Like I love a strawberry margarita.
Yeah, I've had a frozen margarita before, no doubt about that. I appreciate it.
I like it with the salt around the edge. That's what.
And I like mine with the sugar around the edge. So yeah, we can all go suck down a big margarita and then go on to the next thing.
Ladies, since we're talking about Friday, I'm already thinking about the weekend. Any of you, because you're saying sugar around it, have you ever tried actually salt? Do you like salt with it, or you're not a fan of salt around that?
For me, it's all about salt. Yeah,
all about salt.
Yeah, when they like you like twirl the cup in like some water, like a sponge, and then you twirl it in the salt, and then it's got that salt rim. That's how you drink a like one of those slushy margaritas. They're so good.
Just a hint, ladies, that's something I noticed. I never, because you're gonna be having lots of fun over there, those who are going. So have one shot or drink for me. I'll be here. Try if you're ever there. People when they have shots, tequila shots, I usually see them having, lime or sometimes even a lemon, and salt. Next time, try with a good orange slice. I'm telling you, an orange slice.
Okay. People drink those shock tops with orange in them, don't they?
I don't even. I just that was.
I like a tequila shot with orange as well. I find lemon hurts my teeth.
Yeah, so it's basically mind blown in a way. I know we're talking weird stuff right now, but we're talking food and we're talking Kind of Thrones, and you're having a party there. This is something you gotta try if you're thinking about having that kind of a night. You know, obviously don't drink. If you don't drink, it's bad for you. But if you can drink one or two or whatever your thing is, definitely try that with orange because it is completely different experience.
Okay,
Just,
we have a question. One True David Adams asks if Ned didn't get wounded by his horse. I think he got wounded because his horse fell on him. Isn't that how his leg got broken?
Yeah.
He didn't get, yeah, his horse fell on him. Y'all, which I have seen happen. That is a horrible. I've actually, y'all, this is terrible. I was on a trail ride up in Houston, Mississippi. There's a Houston, Mississippi. I saw a person get drowned on a horse. If you take a horse in the water and it starts pawing, that means your horse is agitated, it's pissed off, and then a horse will roll with you. And if you're in the saddle, I saw somebody drown before my eyes. But yes, I think if Ned hadn't got wounded, I mean, he would have been more present. Everything, it would be a different story, period.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sarah.
He lost himself as an able-bodied person. Like, asked, is it easier to be able-bodied or not? It's yeah, I think it would have been different for him.
I mean, he was arrested while he was sick. I mean, sick meaning in bed. And when you're in pain, I mean, anything, you can't think straight when you're in pain. Like you're everything is clouded. You're agitated. It changes the entire everything. It changes everything about if you're in pain that you cannot manage. It's a completely
I look forward to reading it, but how much milk of the poppy does he take? Like, does he eventually start like rejecting it because he wants his wits, so he's in terrible pain?
Maybe.
No, I don't think
you
he
go
ever
to sleep,
it.
right?
I think they quit giving it to him, and then he's actually put into a worse position because because then the wound, I believe the wound gets infected.
Because of all that mud. I mean, he was in that mud. It's
it wasn't kept clean and stuff.
Yikes. There's a question. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Misha. You were answering that one too.
Yes. As I said before, I think it would have turned out differently. You know, especially when you can't really show weakness around the people in King's Landing. I think it just put him in such a weakened position physically and politically as well, because people are looking at him thinking that he's the boss, but look at him, he's about to, it kind of reminds me of Khal Drogo when he fell off his horse. And this is kind of what happens, with Ned. I mean, with this big wound on his leg.
Parallel. Yeah.
I mean, they don't respect him. They don't fear him as much, him being wounded like this. So, yeah, I think things would have turned out, far better for him had he not been, seriously injured the way that he was.
Like, maybe he could have marshaled Stannis over before. Like, you know what I mean? If you could play what if 100 times, but yeah, maybe it would have gone better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being on a horse, that's one thing. Like Jaime, he's the only one on a horse. That's a show of power.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because in battle you always have the upper hand when you are. That's why cavalry always has the advantage over foot soldiers, over infantry, over army. Definitely, you want to be higher than your opponent.
Oh yeah. Plus, you can have you can maneuver. Horses are just, they can go here, there. They're not like a car. They can turn around on a dime. There's a comment here from Mackenzie Burns, a question actually. It says, what scene of Rhaegar and Lyanna's would you want to see in the show if we get one? Like, I guess that's for us ladies. What if there's a scene, or maybe if there's not, but what would you like to see?
When he presented the crown of flowers, to Lyanna, at the tournament. I would like to see, the tournament when he's riding in, and instead of walking, giving the crown of beauty and love to his wife, the Martell woman. I would like to see, that scene of Rhaegar giving that crown, to Lyanna instead. I would like to see that in the show if they were willing to put it there.
What about you, Sarah?
I would like to see what that, but I'd also like to see him. I would like to see the light of the Night of the Laughing Tree in some form, even if you don't actually. I feel like it would be way too complicated to do, but if he could if we could see him falling in love with Liana, like if that's what we're supposed to believe, that it was this love story. Like in the books, I picture it as like, okay, she's the Night of the Laughing Tree. She goes off to the woods. She's disrobing, and he comes and finds her. And the next day doesn't tell his dad, tells his dad, I couldn't find the Night of the Laughing Tree, and then crowns her Love and Beauty. Like, I feel like that would be complicated for the show, but they could maybe communicate it some other way. I want my Blue Roses on TV though, damn it.
Mm-hmm. I would like to.
I'd like to see that too.
Yeah. So with that is actually for what I wanted to see, I don't think they're gonna do it. I wanted to see, because I was always bothered by the fact. I mean, there are many things that bothered me about Liana and Rhaegar's relationship, but one of them was, why would he leave a pregnant wife at that point to fight? Just knowing things. I would like to see their farewell thing.
That's a good answer. I want to know what the fuck was going down in that tower. Like, why are they there?
I'd like to see that behind. Like, what happened? Like, what really happened? I'd like to see that scene to kind of be revealed. First of all, why they got married, and when he's leaving her to fight the war while she's locked up over there, and it's a wasteland over there. Like, why would he choose that tower? There's nothing to do. I mean, not she's pregnant. First of all, walking up those stairs, being like ready to pop. Like, no, I would. So she was stuck in that tower. I don't see any joy in there.
She got pregnant up there probably, and
couldn't leave. It's like poor thing. That's just bad.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm a little bit bothered by that.
Yeah, okay, you guys. Wait, go ahead, Misha. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I kind of think that he was maybe trying to protect her from the Lannister soldiers, not so much Ned. And
it was an interesting choice, though, to take her to Dorne, which would have been the wife's country that he just had a marriage annulled from. So, just the simple fact of the matter is, we don't know enough. Because you would think that would be the last place you would take your new wife is your ex-wife. And not only is that her country, she's their princess. And we know how much Oberyn was respected. So that's very interesting. And, more to be revealed. And I very much so want to figure that out. Cammie, well, I'm part of a great group that's called the Gangbanger of Thrones. And we just share birthdays. We share videos that are wonderful. We've got Cameo in the stream. I like to call her Link Bringer. If you wouldn't mind, Cammie, would you throw, I think anybody could admit who has become a banger that it's a great group to be a part of. If you wouldn't mind, Link Bringer, could you throw out some invites to your Hangouts if you like? Or however that works. Also, we've got Reese and Red Witch. They have a nice server on Discord. Sometimes we just go over there and listen to music or talk and whatnot. Also, we've got Fred Targaryen's Uncle Daddy with us. He's from Amino. Bubba Husky from Amino. Also, I mentioned he did a great blog on tonight's chapter. Look for that on Amino. LMR.
I'm here. I'm just kind of looking through the comments right now.
Right.
I was getting
if there's any way you could throw, is there a way to put a link to Amino, to Bubba Husky's article in Amino?
I don't even have an account at Amino.
Okay. And I don't know how to, well, I do know how to do links, but I've got it right here.
I have a question from Marie.
All right.
Marie says, I want to know how Lyanna dealt with the news that her father and brother died because of what she and Rhaegar did.
Very good.
That's probably that was probably weighing on her as well.
And she should have felt bad.
Because a big war.
A simple note saying, "Hey, I'm okay. Don't do anything." Raven, but we don't know the backstory, therefore it's easy for us to sit here and say those things.
But I'm sure it was weighing on her. I have to agree that it was probably weighing on her. Plus, the heavy weight of adultery itself,
I
and
think she was
breaking
probably
Robert's
very
heart.
conflicted in
Yeah.
everything that she was doing.
Breaking Robert's heart, and all of this death, all of this destruction. Of course, it had to weigh on her. Of course, it did. We just don't know enough. So
there are two questions from Baba Husky. One, I'm just gonna say, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but he was asking kind of a what if question. What if, this is for the chat and for us, what if Ned actually chose the trial by combat, was it, or something, whatever? No, trial of the 7. If I'm not mistaken, who would he? I'm gonna look for it to see if I'm saying it correctly. Who would he choose? What are your thoughts?
He's gonna come up with 7 people.
Oh yeah, he said trial by 7.
Yeah, that's when you have 7 people fight 7 people, isn't it? I don't know. We see that. I don't know that you could. He could have come up with 7 people.
Yeah, they killed all his best men, right?
Well, wait a minute. I don't think it had. I thought they were talking about the faith.
Okay.
A trial given, to you by the faith of the 7, not having 7.
Okay. I thought we were going to the Dunkin' Egg. Would they also have a trial where you have 7 people on 7 people? Like
that is actually what he was asking, I think. Let me find it. He was asking about that.
Well, ask it. Bubba Husky, are you talking about the faith, or are you talking about like the 7 against 7 melee?
It's both.
Yeah, because he was asking who would he choose. So if you have trial of the 7 or by the 7, you'd have to choose.
Not Jory.
Yeah, his good people are dead. And it's far to right north, right? It's not like, hey, I'm gonna go there and catch an Uber and be right back.
He says 7 versus 7.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really want to bring 7 innocent people or 14 innocent people into my mess. If it were me, I would just fight for myself, or either take a trial by the faith of the 7, not that. I mean, for me, in my personal, I would try and fight for myself, or have a faith by the 7. I wouldn't want 14 people trying to kill each other.
Right? Yeah, like you can't account for what 13 was it? So it's trial by 7 plus 7, 14. You're one of them. You can't account for what. Is that what you get to do? You get to pick 7, or you get to pick 6, and you're one of them.
You're one of them, I think.
You're one of them.
Unless maybe you're a king. Maybe if you're a king, maybe you can.
I can't remember. I should know this. But yeah, you can't account for what 13 people are going to do. That's crazy. It's chaos.
Yeah, there are rules for it, and there are great creators here on YouTube who do explain it. If anybody's interested, I know they're just look it up, and it's just type that in the comments or in a search window. Like especially Ned. I mean, I don't even know if he can choose that because of his faith or where he's from.
Yeah, I mean, the faith of the 7 is not his religion.
Exactly. So I don't. Yeah.
Right. So he wouldn't be into it anyway.
Yeah, maybe they would not even agree to it. He
might choose trial by combat.
Yeah. Yeah, trial by combat seems more like Ned's.
Yeah, it seems like, and that seems also like it doesn't really matter what your religion is necessarily. Like you might do that. But it certainly doesn't seem like you would want a trial by the faith, especially if you didn't even worship the faith of the 7.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions in the chat? Please post them right now.
But I'm gonna tell you what, I'm Catholic, and I wouldn't want 7 priests to judge me.
Oh my gosh, let's not even go there. Oh,
much less 7 sisters. Oh my goodness, no, honey, no.
There's another question here. Question maybe again from Baba Husky. Thank you for all those questions. They're like making us our brain is awake at this time of night. It's 10:20 here. So Baba Husky is asking, what if Rhaegar only assisted in helping Arthur Dane kidnap Lyanna? He's from Dorne. Dun dun dun. It's getting late. Anybody want to comment on this one? Basically, Rhaegar kidnapping Lyanna for Arthur Dayne. Maybe that's why Rhaegar wasn't there, and that's why Arthur was protecting her. I don't know. I'm just reading the comment. Please don't throw stuff at me. What do you think?
I don't know that whole situation. I think Arthur Dayne and them were following the king, but following them to their own expense and to the expense of Lyanna, and keeping her at bay for all the wrong reasons. So I'm not. I don't know. I don't know enough of the whole story to give my perfect opinion on it, or imperfect opinion on it. But I just think that they were fighting for all of the wrong reasons. By then, the king was already dead and the prince was already dead. And here they are, in Dorne, still trying to protect Rhaegar's beloved. And it's like, dude, the man is dead. The king and the prince are dead. Just let Ned take his sister away from here. It's just ridiculous. I think they were fighting for all the wrong reasons, and that was really a pointless death for Arthur Dayne. I mean, if it were me, I would have just said, go ahead, get your sister and go on. If my king and sister dead, just go ahead and yet, your sister and go.
All those Kingsguard are dead, but Jaime Lannister is alive.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I guess Barristan Selmy survived, but he's conflicted as well.
Mm-hmm. Are there any more questions or any final thoughts? Any final thoughts?
There's a link I'm gonna share it. Somebody asked me here to share a link. If you can give me just a little bit of couple minutes before you click buy on anything, and I'll look for it.
Bubba Husky has a question here. He says, also, why would Ned have left the presumed dead knights of his own companions' bodies at the Tower of Joy?
Because he did.
Yeah, he did, but I don't know why he didn't bring.
Well, it made an enemy of Barbary Dustin. Barbary Dustin was none too pleased with that move, Ned.
Right. I mean, I thought that was silly. I mean, he seemed like he should have taken the bodies of his companions home and not just buried them there. It was, a great hurt to Barbary Dustin. Not even to bury her own husband.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt anybody, but I just shared Bubba Husky's Amino app, which is about this particular chapter. I checked it; it worked. I'm not the best on the computer, but I try.
It's up here.
And I just shared that, okay? And then I also, let me make sure the Discord one works. I just did that.
Did you do the Discord thing?
Yes, I did. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, y'all, I'll be right back.
Mackenzie Burns has a question. Wouldn't it be a conflict of health for a newborn?
A conflict of what? I'm sorry?
Mackenzie has a question in the chat. Mackenzie asks, wouldn't it be a conflict of health for a newborn? And I'm assuming you're talking about traveling with the bodies. And Milk K says that he didn't have the equipment to carry all the dead bodies. So
and it's hot too. Like, a gross point is that it's hot in Dorne. Like, you don't have equipment. It's hot. There's only so many resources. But in the show, there was a midwife, wet nurse. There was somebody there, at least on the show. So the person who asked about, is it risky to give birth in a tower alone? It probably is, but we also don't know that they were alone. You know what I mean? Like, so much emphasis has gone into obsessing over the limited text that we have, and
we only see what they showed us or what Bran kind of saw, right? So it's not showing an entire picture. So we're just speculating on what was shown to us.
Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to send you a message that was sent to me from Cammy.
Okay.
Cammy, I'm going to show Jennifer the message that you sent, and hopefully we can get the situation resolved. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm also talking to you, Cammy, just to let you know what I'm about to do here.
All right.
Any more questions or any more answers, please post them now.
So the as you anybody wants to add a question or comment, again it said 3 against 20, right? Because there were 3 from Ned and 20 of, I guess, Lannisters. That number, I know it's not a 7, but it's 17 when you do the difference. I'm thinking George could have picked any other number not to include a 7, and he loves that number. It's scream. I mean, it's almost everywhere. I wonder if there's a chapter. That would be a good research thing to see if there's a chapter here without actually saying 7.
Jennifer, did you get the message that I sent you?
I did. Thank
Okay.
you.
Ask your question again, Elamar.
No, I was just saying that there are 3 of Ned's, including Ned, or there were 3 from one side and 20 from the other side when they met for that bad evening, basically. And I'm just saying, like, you have 20 minus 3, and then you're left with 17, right? So that there's a 7 in that number. There's 1 and 7. And I'm just saying, George loves that number. He could have said anything. He could have said 20 and 4. He could have added another character to that and make it a non-7 number, basically. I'm just saying that he likes that number.
Mm-hmm.
And then wondering if there's a chapter that doesn't have that number in there for whatever reason. Because it seems to be popping up every time. When I go back, there's always that 7. In the last couple that we did, that number pops up again.
Well,
Just
yeah.
a note.
I guess the number 7. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The number 7 does have some sort of significance to George R. R. Martin, and I'm glad that he put it in. I'm glad that he put it in the story. We have more questions here. What's the next one? Septushana Sapphires. Why have Lady Dustin? I guess why was Lady Dustin so mad about the body if there is nothing up there with the fucking bodies? I think you're talking. I think Lady Barbary Dustin was more upset because she lost her husband. She's the kind of lady that always kind of wanted to be married. But she's a lady that had power in the Barrowlands, but she wanted, a family. She wanted to have a family and a husband of her own.
She said that all of her favorite Starks are dead Starks. She wanted to marry Brandon, and she couldn't. And then
because she wanted to be them, she said that she really wanted to be.
She was
married.
like Theon. That's how she bonds with Theon. She's like, you and I have a lot in common. And yeah, I think also Ned, quote, took all her husband's, like, I think she was married to somebody who got called away and killed. It was it Balon's rebellion, and then another one got killed at the Tower of Joy. And
she was resentful because she wanted to be married. She wanted to be married to a great lord. And, a lot of women in this story, don't have the power that Lady Dustin had. But some women, want to be married, don't want to live the single life. And she pretty much led the single life all of her life, had the power, wasn't forced into a marriage, but she wanted I think she wanted love or some semblance of love. And it was always taken away from her. And it made her bitter throughout the years that she was unable, to have a husband and the life that she wanted for herself.
Yeah, I think she was very, very bitter. But also on the same token, I think a strong, successful woman in her own right, because in the story, we do see Bruce kind of be a little bit trepidatious about fucking with her.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, he's not just straight up like, you know what I'm saying? He's not ready to just step to Lady Dustin.
Because she had, like, the Barrowlands is a huge part of the North. and he needed the North on his side.
And she's also mad at Roose because his first wife was her sister, I believe.
Right.
And she always has believed that something crazy went down with Domeric. Which was,
that creature killed her nephew.
Right.
And she look. Let me tell you something. Lady Dustin can hold a grudge as well as Cersei Lannister. Yes, she can, honey. Yes, she can. And that's gonna come up. That's gonna come up because remember, the books and the shows are different, and I do believe Lady Dustin's gonna play a part in some sweet Bolton revenge. I do.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna enjoy that.
Yeah,
but you guys, it's getting very late.
Okay, we had a few questions, but I don't think we're going to be able to get to them tonight.
Well, I mean, if there's a question and you think we can, go ahead.
We can take one last question, and then we're going to have to go ahead and shut it down. Baby John and Lyanna's future. If she survived and Ned showed up, what would Ned do? I don't.
Which question? Where is that? Who is it from? I'm just trying to find it.
Mackenzie L. Burns, toward the bottom, a little toward the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
Baby John and Lyanna's future. If she survived and Ned showed up. If Lyanna survived the childbirth.
If she survived. Wow.
I mean, because of Robert.
I'm sure he would keep the baby as his. I'm sure he would say that's not Lyanna's, that's my kid. Because Robert would go nuts. I mean, I don't know what he would do. He loved her, but I don't think she would ever want to be married to Robert if he found her at some point.
He would send her to the Silent Sisters.
Yeah, exactly. Something would happen. So I think Ned would lie. Ned would still say this is my kid, and she had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, because Robert, was so convinced that she was so in love with him. But I mean, just reading those few sentences made me think that she really didn't love him that much at all. In this chapter. I mean, the way she talked about him. I mean, I think she saw him as a good guy, but it was obviously not the way a woman in love would talk about the man that she loves. It felt very cold and very removed, and not like the love that Robert in his mind thought that they had. I guess we're going to go ahead and end the stream now. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Thank you to Bubba, to Mackenzie, to One True David Adams, Chrissy of Old Stones, Fred, Milt K, Rees, and if I'm forgetting anyone else, thank you. Thank you so much.
Shayna's Secrets.
Connie
Super, Marie Hill.
Right. Shayna. Yeah. Red Witch.
Reese. Who else has passed through tonight? Elamar, can you think of anybody we're missing?
Mary B.
Mary B.
Did we mention
Nancy
T?
Nancy T. Yes.
I see Eduardo. I see David.
Eduardo, Emmanuel. I don't remember his last name, but
we pretty much got everybody. And Amanda Duncan. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about Daenerys.
That's right.
Daenerys, we're moving back across the narrow sea to Daenerys and her journey. She's going to be making it her way to the land of Vias Dothrak, the land of the Dothraki. Everyone on our panel, thank you all so much for joining us. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. And I hope we can come back next week and things will be a little bit better for us, in regards to our chat.
Yes. Sorry about whatever happened tonight. I couldn't say. I'll investigate my channel settings. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. No problem here. Thank you all so much. The ladies, Sarah and Elamar, you want to do your outros if you have one?
Sure. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say good night. Thank you. I'll see you again next time we do this.
Same here. It's always fun. Like I said, we never know what's going to happen, but that's what's fun about
Right.
it.
And we do plan a special stream on Sunday with Marie Hill. If you want to, you can go back. You can go back through the chat and click on Marie Hill's link, Game of Theories with Marie. She put out a video called The Doom of Westeros, which is actually a compilation of 3 videos she made over a year and a half ago. And this will be our 3rd part talking about it. So we'll see you Sunday, 6 o'clock. All right, everybody have a great rest of the week. I'm sorry the chat wasn't perfect tonight, but we'll work on it. But thanks for everybody coming. Thank you so much. Have a great week.